homemade chili, and I'm just going to start by preparing a couple of things quickly. My peppers. I like to use some fresh peppers as well as a variety of different spices, and I'll go through those as we add them. Now, what I'm going to do as well is I'm taking note of all the labels and all the nutritional value that goes along with the recommended serving sizes. I'm calculating how much I'm going to put into my chili, including the vegetables that I'm cutting up right now. And we're going to get a total count so we know exactly how much we're getting every time we eat this bowl of chili. So we're going to figure out how much protein, how much fat, how much carbs, and I'm going to show you all the ingredients that I use, and this will give you an idea of how to count your own calories in the meals that you make. Okay, so I'm almost done chopping up my peppers here. Okay, again, you don't got to be a pro in the kitchen in order to prepare your own food. As you can see, I am certainly not. I like big chunks of spices, so I'm not dicing these too much. The seeds inside the peppers is what actually gives it the punch, so I leave those inside as well. Just remember that after you cut these peppers, don't touch your face, don't touch your eyes, or you're going to be crying. Alright, so good idea always just to rinse your hands after. Okay, so what's going in this chili is going to be 2 packages of this lean ground turkey, which is in the microwave. I just defrosted it from the freezer. And I've got a can of these tomatoes, 1 can of black beans, which is here, 1 can of red kidney beans. I like to throw in a can of niblets in my chili, so I'm adding this can of corn. These crackers do not belong to that meal. Okay, now I'm also writing everything down, and I'm keeping track of all the labels, so I'm going to calculate this. Alright, now to give you an idea of what these how these labels read, we got half a cup of beans gives you 130 calories, of which there is 23 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fiber, 9 grams of protein. That equals 15 out of the 23. That means there are 8 grams of starches missing from this label. Now, this can of beans was in this 2 cups on this measuring cup. 2 cups of bean inside this can. So that means that I take the nutritional content of this label and I'm going to multiply it by 4 later on when I keep track of how many calories. Alright, so just to give you an idea of what that means. So really, if I ate this 2 cups of beans right now, I'd have over 540 calories of food. Alright, so first things first, what I want to do is make sure that I grab a nice pot. And for my rack here, I'm grabbing the big one, because we're going to make this chili and we're only going to use 1 dish. Alright, so I'm going to turn my element on. I want to cook it on high, so around 7 or 8 on my stove. I take my lean ground chicken or turkey out, and I'm just going to throw it in there, fry it up. That's going to be step 1. Alright, now as my turkey fries, I'm going to add a bunch of different spices. I'm going to add my ingredients here, of which everything that I put inside my chili is going on this list, which is going to go into my spreadsheet. And at the very end, I'm going to tell you what 1 bowl or 1 cup is equal to in nutrients. Alright. Okay, I've just added a few tablespoons of oil, just so the turkey doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. And it's starting to brown nicely. So just keep your eye on the meat. You want to get it nice and brown, then you're going to start adding in the other stuff. Okay, so I've got my chilies, my green onion. They're on standby with a bunch of my spices. I like to throw in 1 big spoon of Thai curry. This is chili powder from a pack. I just saved this bottle. But we're going to add in a whole bunch of this stuff as well. So I don't even measure. I do this to taste. Now when you add spices in, you don't have to worry about adding extra calories. A lot of these spices don't have a lot of calories in them. It's not like using oils. Here I use crushed red chilies, paprika. Then out of my fridge, I grab a little Tabasco sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and that goes into the chili as well. Again, my secret ingredient, this is Classico Italian sausage pepper tomato sauce. So tomatoes are the big part of your chili. Getting the sauce right is always the toughest part, so I get a little bit of help, and I use some pre-made stuff. Alright, nobody likes a watery chili. Okay, so my beef's browning pretty nice. A few more minutes here. And then we're just going to start adding everything in. This chili is pretty quick. Really the longest part is browning the meat. Separating your stuff from your cans. I encourage you guys to use measuring cups always. Measure out what's exactly going in so you can keep track of your nutritional content. Inside my strainer here, I always rinse my beans inside the strainer, and then I'll put them in the measuring cup just so I get an accurate count. Okay. Alright. Now, does it have to be 100% cooked in order to add your greens in? I say no. This is about the time when I start adding in my chilies. Alright, now we're just going to start adding. So Worcestershire sauce, I usually do 3 or 4 good pumps. A teaspoon. For my curry, a nice big heaping spoon. Alright, I give 2. I like a spicy chili. I like a chili that makes you sweat. So we're on track with our spices. The red chilies, I'm kind of generous. I just sprinkle a whole bunch of flakes in there. Paprika. Paprika is one of those spices you don't want to add too much, so just a few sprinkles. Cumin tends to turn your food yellow, so again, just be careful with this one. Just a few dashes. Good thing about chili is it becomes very colorful as you add in certain ingredients. Alright, so this one here, because there's no measuring needed, I just sprinkle a whole bunch, and this one's to taste. So if I need to add more later, I'll just shake some more in and mix everything up. You guys can't smell this, but right now this is starting to get that nice little spice to it. Let's just mix the curry up in the bottom. Put it through. Delicious. Now, you don't have to use ground turkey, but ground turkey is obviously going to be the healthiest choice if you're looking to cut out some red meat from your diet, some of that extra fat. Then you want to use lean cuts, so ground turkey or extra lean ground beef. Ground turkey being the healthiest option. Okay, delish. Now just watch out for the steam, because with all those spices, it will make you tear up a little bit. So get the sinuses going. Good thing about spicy food is it keeps your metabolism nice and strong, nice and quick. Okay. Now I'm ready to start adding some of my tomatoes. So again, this is 2 cups of tomatoes. I drain the water out of the tomatoes, and then I use the whole ones, and then with my spoon I just break them up. just mix it up. Again, just cutting out the big pieces. As this cooks, this is going to get softer. It's going to separate. So the key is to get everything mixed up nice, and we're going to simmer this on low heat. It's always best served a few hours later, but all the spices and the juices mix together, flavors start to blend. Next day is ideal. But if you're hungry, you can cook this and have it ready to eat in about half an hour. Or less if you're impatient. Once it's hot, you can eat it. Okay. So next are my red kidney beans. Again, I measured out 2 cups. And normally for a chili recipe, I add in 2 cans, so that would actually equal 4 cups. So I'm going to add in 2 more behind the scenes. So plus 2 cups. Now I'm curious as to what my black beans measured out to, so I'm just going to pour them into my measuring cup here. Get the final count. And yeah, that is exactly 2 cups as well. So let's see, 2 packs of meat, 6 cups of bean recipe. Just mix all that up. And you see it's nice and thick. You'll get a lot of servings out of this. Now it depends on what your needs are for the day. But I find a nice big bowl of chili sits well for a few hours. It's got a good source of non-animal based protein with all those cups of beans. Alright, throw in the corn. Now this is just a personal preference with the corn. So again, if you think this is off the wall, you don't have to add corn. But this adding the corn right here basically adds a serving of vegetables to my meal. Okay, now for a bit of the secret weapon, the sauce. Now I don't use the whole thing. I don't like a watery chili, so I use enough just to make it nice consistency for my meat and my beans. I got a lot of stuff in there, so there we go. In fact, I will almost use the whole thing. Okay, so 1 jar of sauce. 1 jar of sauce, 2 packs of meat, 2 cans of beans, 1 can of corn, a whole bunch of spices, 2 green chilies, 2 red chilies, a little bit of olive oil. Notice I didn't drain the turkey. There's no need to do that. It's already really lean meat, and that adds just a little bit of flavor. That extra little bit of fat that we left in there adds flavor, and fat's not a bad thing. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sit, and I'm going to simmer it at about 2.5. Just let it cook a little bit more, let everything soften up. And then if I was really hungry, I could eat this within 10 minutes. So I'm just going to let this simmer for 10 minutes. I could come back and I could eat it, but I'm going to let it sit for a few hours before I dig in. Alright, well thanks for watching me. Look at that chili. That's delicious. You couldn't see it as close like I could. It's up high. This is what the fruits of your labor are going to look like. Notice the colors, the corn. You can see that it's going to be very spicy. It's got a little bit of orange from all the curry, paprika. You can see those chunks of red chili, green chili floating around, the black beans, the red beans, and the lean ground meat. You've got a few good meals here. Fantastic.